There's just something about sitting back and watching your lawn get mowed by your Landroid. How cool is that? Welcome back to another Jeff Reviews for you, and this is part 2 of my Landroid series. In this video, we're going to look at the ACS, the anti-collision system. We're also going to look at the WORX off-limit system, and then the garage. If you want to see different ones throughout this video, you can check out the timestamps below. You know what? Enough talk. Let's get right into this review. As the Landroid cuts grass, when it comes across an obstacle that does not have an exclusion wire, it will just hit it. Makes contact, it backs up a little, and then tries a different route. That is until now. We're actually going to install the ACS system, which is the anti-collision system, and this will give the Landroid some eyes. What I'm told is this is really just a plug-and-play device. The ACS system is a $245 upgrade, which may seem like a lot, and, well, it is. But as you remember from my first video, I did have a few times when the Landroid just, well, tried to climb a tree and wasn't working. Let's open this up and see what we get for $245. First, there's a paper on top that tells us what we need. I have to get my own screwdriver, but I should have an Allen wrench and some bolts and the ACS system in this box. And they were correct. And this is all it really is. It just gives it some sort of an ability to sense objects and avoid them. And here is the plug and play wires. Let's go get our Landroid and install this. The ACS system actually mounts right here to the front, so we're going to take off this panel right here, and just to be safe, we've taken out the battery. So let's just take a flathead screwdriver and pop this piece up. I will put this piece away, but as for after this install, we won't be using it anymore. You see, we just have 2 wires in here. Funny thing is, I've got grass in there. I'm not sure how grass got in there. Anyway, I'm gonna clean that out and hook up these 2 wires to our ACS. It should be noted that the wires inside here they actually have caps on them. Now we're just gonna pull the caps off. And this really just is plug and play. Now we're gonna have to make sure these wires fit inside this space neatly, and so I might have to do some finagling and maneuvering and then bolt it down. I think the most difficult part is just getting these wires to fit in here neatly, but once you get there, you can really just put these screws in. Once the screws are in and lined up, you can use the wrench to tighten them all the way down. Now that we're installed, we can slide our battery back in, turn it on, enter our passcode, and see how it does. All right, let's see now what happens with that same tree with the ACS installed. Oh, it got to the tree. It looks like it's still trying to go forward. I'm not sure if that's what I thought it was going to do, but at least it didn't hit it. All right, here I put an obstacle in front of the Landroid. Let's see what it does when it approaches. Well, looked like it tried to go around it. So this was cool. It saw the tree, immediately tried to veer right, but then it got caught on a stump, and I'm not sure if it thinks it's still going, because it's not. Let's give him a little push. So, tell me, what are your thoughts of the ACS system? Something you would get? Not so much? Let me know down in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you. I was really excited because the ACS looked as though it was going to do something. It weaved around the tree and yet again got stopped on a root. I'm going to end up using a new product by WORX. I shouldn't say a new product, but another product. It's their off-limits kit. In the off-limits pack, you actually have your off-limits device. You have some stakes. It looks like some connectors and a magnet roller. There actually might be 2 in there. This is the piece that hooks up to the bottom of the Landroid. I will say it retails for between $150 and $160. I actually got mine for like $75 because I bought it gently used but in like new condition. Let's install it. We turned off our Landroid, took out the battery, and now we're going to open up the off-limits compartment. There are just 3 screws right here, so I'm going to do that now, and then we're going to install this officially. Just like with the ACS, this is truly just plug and play, and you're in. Now it seems like that's it, but it's really not. Look at this. This piece right here is grooved. It's supposed to slide right in, and it should slide in easily. I think I might need to have 2 grooves because there's another place. Then, of course, the recess of the cap here should just fit right over top of it. My problem is I've got to get past this piece, so I'm actually just going to cut it off. As my dad always told me,
measure twice and cut once. I went back and checked, and I was gonna cut off the wrong side. This is actually the side I had to cut off, and I'm only cutting it off as far as this piece because that's where it's gonna rest against anyway. With that little tab cut off, I can now slide this down into place and then put the cap right on top and screw this all down. Now that we're all hooked up, let's flip this thing over, put the battery back in, start it up, and see if this off limits feature works. I just turned the Landroid back on, and it told me immediately that the off limits piece was detected. It uploaded its firmware and it's ready to go. I have a little test here. I just did a ring here with the magnets right in front, so we're gonna hit start and see what it does. Off we go. It detected the magnet, stopped, turned, and went the opposite direction. Very cool.
If I were to rank what I think is the best way to avoid an object, whether it's with the original boundary wire, the magnet from the off limits kit, or the ACS, I would say go with the original boundary wire every time. Realistically, you don't really need to buy anything extra to go with your Landroid unless you don't have the wire, but that works 100% of the time. My next favorite would absolutely be the off limits magnet. I do like that it's modular and portable. I can move it from place to block off different areas, and then you know what? If I don't want them blocked off anymore, I can move that magnet away. I like that with the magnet, I can get those into areas that may be far away from the boundary wire, and therefore wouldn't make sense for me to try to run a wire all the way out there. The magnet does come in handy. Don't get me wrong, the ACS system does work a large portion of the time, but for me, I want it to work 100% of the time, and I just did not get that through my experience. Now that we've taken a look at the off limits system and the ACS, which one do you think would be beneficial to you if you could only get one? Let me know down below. Now, let's talk about the garage.
We had quite a few rainstorms, and so what I've been doing is just bringing the Landroid inside the garage, and that's not really sustainable. So we ended up purchasing the actual garage for the Landroid. Let's install it. Here's the box that our garage came in. This retails for right around $160. Let's unbox this and set it up. All right, so our first step is to install the actual arms or legs with the feet. And you can see these are labeled. This one has an R, the other one has an L, and they do have corresponding feet pieces that go with them. Now, you can't really mess this up because it only goes on one direction. See, I already started to mess it up. And now I flipped it around, and there we go, and the 3 screw holes open up. I have the screws in my hand. We're just going to hook this up and then do the other side. When you're all done, this is what they look like. The feet are now installed to the arms, and we are ready for the next step. Now let's hook the leg right into the garage top. I have the right leg here, and so I'm just going to loop it right over top and in. It's actually pretty simple. Now I'm going to take 3 screws, screw them in here, and then do the same thing on the other side. As I've been setting this up, the Landroid's been mowing, and look, it just came by, shredded right over top of this plastic bag. Anyway, our last step is to go around and just bolt down the garage, and we're done. We are installed. You can see that you can lower it and raise it. You do have to pull this lever up just to get it to go back up, but there we go. We are all protected. I was pretty surprised with how wobbly it is, but I guess since it's just a cover, and really no weight will be put on top, it's probably okay. Next time we see this will be, well, when it parks, and then we'll check it out what it looks like in the rain. It's just started to rain. It's not really raining that bad, but you can see the garage is getting wet, but the Landroid underneath is staying dry. This is super cool.
In this video, we were looking at 3 of the optional accessories for the WORX Landroid. The cheapest one we looked at was the off-limit system. That's right around $150. Then we looked at the garage, which was right around $170. And of course, the ACS, which is right around $240. So what did I think of them? Let's talk about that off-limit system first. In my opinion, this is my favorite of the off-limits or the no-go area things because one, it's modular. I could pick up those magnets and move them anywhere I want. I actually have a plot of land that I have that's really bare and I want to plant some grass, and my actual boundary wire goes through that area, but for me, I'm going to rope it off or block it off with the magnets. Therefore, when the Landroid goes up, it senses the magnet and goes away, and I don't have to do anything with the boundary wire. The downside for this part is the magnets are very, very expensive to have to buy if you're going to be blocking off larger areas. If we talk about that garage, in my opinion, that's absolutely something that you should get if you don't want to take this inside or if you don't already have a cover. Some people might have a cover and some people might not mind taking it inside, but I like that it keeps out of the elements when it's raining and keeps it dry and clean and ready to go. As far as the ACS system, I like the concept of it. It's gonna go out of the way of something and not hit a tree, a ball, a bottle, or whatever. But in my experience, it didn't work all that well. Like, it still hit trees, I hit other objects, and for the price, I would just go down with the off-limits system. Anyway, that was my full review of these 3 add-on items for the WORX Landroid. If any of them are something that interests you, I will leave a link down in the description. This is Jeff with Jeff Reviews for You. As always, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a great day. As it sits with the original Landroid purchase and the 3 optional upgrades, I'm right about $2,000 invested in this robot lawnmower. I really do appreciate that you stayed around for my entire review where I looked at 3 different optional accessories to the WORX Landroid. You know what? In this review, I actually referenced my very first Landroid video. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna link that one right up here, and I would love it if you would click on this link. And when you do, by the magic of the internet, I'm gonna join you right there. So go ahead, click it. It's safe, I promise.